Good evening, ladies and gents. We are doing another outdoor podcast on this beautiful Friday afternoon. And we are going to be giving our final LSU South Carolina thoughts and prediction. But before we begin with that, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, share our content if you like what we do, and comment. Leave a comment. Any type of engagement and support means the world to us and helps us get our content into the algorithm. So let's begin with the prediction. South Carolina versus LSU. The LSU Tigers, 16th ranked, comes into Columbia, South Carolina at noon to face off against the Gamecocks. We all know it. We've been talking about it all week. Everyone's excited about it. College game day is going to be in town. A lot of media presence will be in town. A lot of recruits. A lot of national attention and love for the Gamecocks in this game. And, I mentioned this in a video earlier. This is the first time in a decade that the Gamecocks have a national spotlight on them. Yeah, that's pretty big for the program. The nation's eyes will be on Columbia, South Carolina on Saturday. And again, that's a very exciting thing for the program, for the fans, for the players, for the students, for the university. It's exciting to have game day in Columbia. It really is. To have a national spotlight on your city, on your football team. It's a huge deal. And another thing is, South Carolina has a really big opportunity upcoming. Because you think, if you win this game, and it's not impossible that you can win this football game, by the way, you're 3-0. You have Akron the next week. You're more than likely going to be 4-0 heading into the bye week. Do I even need to tell you guys how huge that would be for South Carolina to be 4-0 heading into the bye week? Then you have Ole Miss coming to town. Then you have the brutal 2-game road stretch, Oklahoma and Alabama. But this is a type of game that I don't even think is reaching, could shift your program. If you win, this could be a program-changing win for the Gamecocks. Because if you number one, you haven't beaten LSU since the 1990s. And you haven't beaten them at home since the 1930s. So you definitely need to get the LSU monkey off your back. But, got a little lost there. What's more important is you win this game, you send a message to the nation that you are to be taken seriously. Hey, we're here. We are not the running joke anymore. South Carolina is here to play football. We got our program going in the right direction. And another thing is, we've heard it all in the offseason about the fire Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer's on the hot seat. You'll cool all of that off with a win. With a 4-0 start, you'd be cooling that off. You have, and not to mention, all the love you're getting right now, well, continue the positive momentum. Because it's like Coach Beamer said, the same people who are hyping you up right now will be the same ones to turn on you if you lay a giant egg tomorrow. They'll be back to saying, it's just South Carolina. Just low, poor, terrible South Carolina. They're nothing. Send a message and make a statement. You made a statement last weekend against Kentucky, but you do it against a ranked LSU team at your place, it'll be an even bigger and louder message. And hey, look, what you did last weekend was good, but newsflash, you're an underdog here too. You're a dog at your own stadium, so you still got more to prove. Now about the game. Is LSU an impossible task for South Carolina? No. But are they an easy task? No. LSU is going to be the toughest, best team this South Carolina team has seen so far. This is going to be the biggest test this defensive line has seen so far. And we've all been talking about it. Dylan Stewart, incredible. Man got triple teamed and plowed through that offensive line. And he's going to be a big factor. But Will Campbell for LSU, one of the best offensive linemen in the country. He's only allowed like 2 or 3 sacks in his career and over 100 snaps. That's going to be a big, big, big challenge for the South Carolina defenders. But you look at the South Carolina defensive line, guys, I truly believe is a very serious, legit ball club, right? You look at it. Tonka Hemingway. Of course, the best freshman in the country, Dylan Stewart. Kyle Kennard. Boogie Huntley. TJ Sanders. And heck, you even got defensive guys like Nicky Minwari, Jalen Kilgore, Debo Williams, O'Donnell Fortune, and some more. These guys can make plays. Your defense has studs, freaks, and beasts all over the place. And you are going to need them again in this game because LSU's offense, way better than Kentucky's, guys. Garrett Nussmeier, I truly believe this guy is one of the best quarterbacks. I really like him. Dude can sling it all over the place, and he's got some star-studded receivers to throw it to. One of the things here, and I think this very well favors the South Carolina defense, LSU struggled to run the football. They have not run the football very well this season. And on top of that, their leading rusher is out for the season. He's out for this game. Is he out for the season? I might have gotten that wrong, but I know he's out for this game. So I do believe this South Carolina defense, I don't think LSU is going to be able to run the ball very well against South Carolina, but they can throw it well. And we have seen South Carolina's secondary give up a few big plays, some busted coverages. That's got to be fixed. You can't have that against this LSU team because they will burn you. They will burn you. Secondary, you had to be well. One thing South Carolina has done well in the secondary is force turnovers. Force turnovers. Nicky Minwari with a pick 6 last week. Jalen Kilgore with a game-winning interception. He even got it again. He even got it again last week. Hell, guys, you want to go back to the Old Dominion game, and it's like we said, the defense is the whole reason you won that game. Keys for the defense, and I think this is very obvious. Get some pressure. Force turnovers. Get tackles for loss. And get some sacks. This is the South Carolina defensive line who has gotten 10 sacks for 2 games. But they're going up against an LSU offensive line who hasn't allowed a single sack in this game. And even though LSU hasn't given up sacks, there has still been some pressure on Nussmeier. We saw it against Southern California. They didn't sack him, but they got pressure, and they put the dude on his back a couple times. You got to create pressure. You have to. And you got the guys to do it as well. Because as good as that LSU offensive line is, South Carolina's defensive line can play. They are big boys, they are studs, and they are freaks, and they will make things difficult. This is by far the best defense LSU will be seeing. But like I said, it's by far the best offense South Carolina will be seeing. So it's going to be a challenge for both teams. It's definitely going to be a fun matchup to see the Gamecocks defensive line against the LSU offensive line. And I do think this defense is very capable of having another solid outing against the Tigers, but LSU's going to get their plays. They are going to get their plays, but can you hold them off the scoreboard? Can you create pressure? And can you force turnovers? If you can do that, you have to like your chances. And something I really like, what Clayton White said is he cut the reins from the defense. He let them play. And we saw the result against Kentucky. You obviously got to continue doing that. But you know who else I want to see do that? The South Carolina offense. I think Dow Loggins should take that same approach. Because I'll tell you this. South Carolina's offense, here is my concern. It's an offense that's improving, but they are still a work in progress. And they still have a lot of issues. The offensive line, still struggling. Getting better, but still struggling. Blocking has to be better. You got to give Lenore Sellers time because, you know, he made some mistakes against Kentucky. And a lot of that was because he had pressure in his face. Lenore Sellers has to get more comfortable. He has to play better, and he knows it. And the thing is, LSU's got some guys on defense, too. Their defense isn't the prettiest thing in the world, but they have some guys. But here's the thing. For whatever reason it is, LSU in the secondary, they're getting torched, and they can't seem to stop the run. So my question here is this. This is a ball club that's still, they're not where, this offense is not where they want to be right now, guys. They're not there yet. They're getting better, but they're not there yet. Is this the game where it comes together for the South Carolina offense? Now, we get asked, is this the game where it comes together for LSU? But is this a game where you can generate a running game, a solid ground game against a team that is struggling to stop the run? Rocket Sanders, he is a good running back. And if he has time, if his offensive line can help him out, he can make plays. And if LSU can't stop the run and South Carolina's defense plays extremely well, that can spell some trouble for the Tigers. And I'm going to be honest, I think Kentucky's defense is better than LSU's. I don't care who hates me for it. I really believe that. I believe that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe that. And, hey, Kentucky, and, hey, the Gamecocks scored 31 points. Granted, one of those was a pick six, but they still played well, I thought. You know, they were able to get pressure on Lenora Sellers. They were able to stop the run a little bit. Carolina got loose in the second half, 2 passing touchdowns. So this offense is improving, but there are still weak spots. And Kentucky still played very well. Again, the offensive line that gave up 3 sacks. And that's the thing. You got to be able to protect your quarterback. Because I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys, and some of you might disagree. But I think this is a game where South Carolina is going to have to kind of jump on LSU early. They're going to have to jump on LSU early because, honestly, I don't see this offense where it's at the moment being able to come back from behind double digits. I just don't. You can't get down early. You can't get down 14-0, 10-0 early because at that point, and I'll go ahead and say this, I think whoever scores first is more than likely going to be the one who wins this football game. But, you know, you have to protect Lenora Sellers. You have to allow him to make these deep shots because, again, LSU could be burnt for the passing game. And, hey, we saw some things last week. We saw some things. Maceo Bennett played pretty well. Joshua Simon, that we got somewhere last week. And again, this offense is going to get better as the season progresses. And they did make some progress. But there are things they did the last couple of weeks that they can't do against LSU. Because while LSU definitely has their weaknesses, they're still a better team than Old Dominion and Kentucky. Protect the quarterback, create opportunities for Rocket Sanders to get loose and create big plays. And of course, hold LSU off the scoreboard, get pressure on Nussmeier, and stop the run. If you can do that, I think it'll be a successful day for the Garnet and Black. And now for my final score prediction. And I'll tell you what, guys, I have had a lot of trouble with this one. I've been going back and forth. LSU is a better team on paper, without question. And this is a game that I think will be one on the line of scrimmage. And on paper, LSU has the advantage there. But guess what, guys? On paper, some disagree with me when I said this, but it is true. Kentucky had the advantage at quarterback, and both lines of scrimmage is on paper. But when the game played, that didn't matter. South Carolina dominated. On paper doesn't mean anything. The hype is real for South Carolina. It's at home. You got game day, a winnable game, a great opportunity in front of you. And I know there's a little bit of a distraction right now with Ray Tanner and everything that's going on. But can South Carolina seize the moment? Seize the moment. Don't get lost in the hype and the hoopla. You got to go out there and you got to play LSU as hard as you play Kentucky. You can't get a big head. Because, again, you're still a dog. You're still a dog at your home stadium. You got more to prove. You got to go out there and prove everyone wrong again. Here's my thing. And this kind of hurts me. But, again, I think this LSU offense is going to pose a new challenge for this South Carolina defense. And this defense isn't invincible, guys. They are capable of giving up big plays. The run defense wasn't the greatest. Kentucky, they got 139 rushing yards. It's not too great, but it's still not eye-popping. It's still like, wow, okay, South Carolina needs to be a little bit better, if you know what I'm trying to say. And I still have concerns with that offensive line, dude. I still have concerns with the blocking. I think LSU is going to be able to get pressure on Lenora Sellers and force a couple mistakes. But I also think the Gamecocks are going to do the same with Nussa Meyer. And I know LSU fans are going to say, no, there's no way that South Carolina defense gets past our offensive line. South Carolina's defense is a force to be reckoned with, fellas. They're gonna give a lot of teams in the SEC problems this year. Just ask Kentucky. Again, LSU is a much better team than Kentucky. It's just when it comes to the line of scrimmage, as good as South Carolina's defensive line is, this is so hard for me to do, man. I want to pick South Carolina so bad, guys. I wish y'all knew how bad I want to pick my team to win the football game. And I'm still a Carolina fan. Just because I pick them to lose a game doesn't mean I'm not a fan. Hey, guys, I want to be wrong. But I think LSU has the advantage. When it comes to quarterback, when it comes to line of scrimmage, I just think they have the advantage. And unfortunately, I think Carolina loses this football game. I think it's very close. I think the Gamecocks cover, but I have LSU winning this game. 24 LSU, 21 South Carolina. I think we will see a lot of strides from the offense, but I think LSU's passing game is what's going to get the last laugh here. The defensive line will play well, but again, I just think Nussa Meyer and that LSU passing game at the end is going to give South Carolina trouble, and it's going to give LSU the last laugh. I hope I'm wrong, guys. I hope I'm wrong. This isn't 2019 LSU. And Brian Kelly, look, another thing that scares me is LSU knows they need to win this game. Brian Kelly knows he needs to win this game. There's pressure on LSU. There is pressure because if Brian Kelly and LSU lose this game, oh my God, the scene in Baton Rouge is going to be very difficult. I just don't think LSU is going to lose. So all that on the line, and the fact that I just think they're better. Again, paper doesn't mean anything. My prediction doesn't mean anything. South Carolina can go out there and win again. And I will be happy to eat crow and take the L for my score prediction. But again, right now, I think LSU has a slight advantage. LSU 24, South Carolina 21, a regrettable prediction. But I think it's going to be a fun game in Columbia nevertheless. Thank you all so much for watching. Your boy, SEC Football Tube, checking out. Go Gamecocks. Please, please, please make me look like an idiot on Saturday.